Hi, I'm Britt.
And my name is Alissa.
And this is Skeletales.
And this is the podcast where we try to answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
Alissa, do you know that feeling when you've got butterflies in your stomach?
Yes.
And a chill up your spine and you think that maybe, perhaps just maybe it's your grandma? It's not.
Oh.
You just have to poo.
Oh. You know what? That is true. They're very similar feelings.
So I received a package yesterday, Alissa,
yes.
from you.
What did I get you? Oh, that's right. Oh,
it's a Skeletales t-shirt. I didn't even know these existed.
That looks very low on your chest, the little Skeletales logo. Do you think?
I'll hold it up.
Doesn't that look low?
It is. Like, here's my boobies.
Yeah,
it's like a little lower.
It's like a stomach.
I love it, though. I'm going to wear the shit out of this.
Will you? Even if it's on your belly?
Hell yeah, I don't care.
Okay, well, cool. Yay, surprise,
you know what I'm
wearing
tomorrow.
Okay, I want to see a picture. I want to see you in it.
All right.
But I'm going to raise that up a little bit. We need that more in the boob region. That's skeletal.
What's
it's
on my
supposed
sternum?
to draw the eye to the breasts.
Yeah, everyone needs to be looking at these
idea.
Double A. No, they're not
shebangas. I don't know. I was trying to make up a word for it. Oh my God, Britt.
Shebangas.
Talking about breasts made me think of Jermaine Clement in some movie. He is going to be.
Take that segue.
He's going to be naked in a movie soon. Soon. It is happening. I saw it on Twitter.
Like we'll see Peen?
Yeah, I believe
so. You know he's a hairy motherfucker. He's got all
you want me to be able to see it? Aye. So that had nothing to do with anything. I just thought of breasts, sex organs, Jermaine Clement.
Yes, I'm into it. Please share what this movie is once you find out, because I'm there.
I think that what the tweet I saw was that someone's like, well, what if I don't want to see you naked? Because he had tweeted it. And he said, sorry, mate, it's compulsory. Yes,
God, I love him so
much. I love him so much too.
Okay.
Britt.
First of all, hey, we're Skeletales.
Oh, yeah.
What do we talk about?
I have no idea. Boobs, penis, poop.
Penis, poop.
That covers it.
Okay. We tell stories, folks. We tell supernatural, paranormal, spooky stories.
We do tell these sorts of stories. I'd love to hear a near-death experience. This is really high on my list. I brought my own last week.
I have one that's on the top of my list now. I want an out-of-body experience.
Oh.
Yeah. My niece came to me with one, which I will tell in the near future, but I need some more of that.
Was she almost dead at the time?
No.
Okay.
She's straight up living and thriving, having an out-of-body experience.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, sure. Please bring it.
Anyways.
Love to hear that. So, Britt, how are you, my friend? How are you doing?
Oh, Lord. I don't know if you've heard, and I know we post this in the future, Texas fucking got a spritz of snow and shut down. Like,
what? Really? No,
Texas
I knew.
I
totally knew. Everyone knew.
Everyone knew. And we were one of the lucky ones. We had power. We had a drizzle of water for a few days. But we had water. I have so many friends who were like, and this is how you take snow and melt it in your bathtub and then filter it out and drink it, or to put it in your toilet so you don't have poo in your toilet for... Oh, here I am talking about poo again.
Oh, we just can't.
It was rough, though. I have friends, pipes bursting everywhere, flooded houses and apartments, and it was a bit of a shit show.
Dude, it looked gnarly. It looked super gnarly. You guys were not prepared for this deep freeze. That's the deal. Like,
give us 110-degree weather, we will power through. Give us 10-degree weather? No. Hell no. People don't have winter coats here.
10-degree weather, but it's not just 10-degree weather. You had a boil order. You had to boil all the water. Like what you just said.
If
you
we
had
had water, if you
water.
had water, you boiled it. It was a little chaotic. We were so lucky though. The worst we had it was without internet, which is part of the reason we didn't record last week. But
and no, that wasn't even it. I was on vacation. You don't have to make it sound any. I took the week off. I was living large. I had a great week. It was very relaxing.
You were in
sunshine,
land that is in the negatives. You were in the land that was in the negatives all the time, and they know how to function perfectly well in cold weather.
Well, and then I even sought out the more negative weather of Montana, the ski slopes. But like it was like too hot in the apartment. Too hot, too much water, too much electricity. It was almost too much.
Just suffering with too much.
Our toilets were too full. No, you guys had it rough. Like you guys got fucked up. Like I could not believe
Texas was wrecked. Speaking of spooky things, what are we talking about today, Alyssa?
Britt, I thought you had something else you wanted to share with us before we jump in.
This is why it is so important that you keep me on task. I do have one more thing before we hop into some stories. I received a video from Julie with a little Jada update.
Yay! Oh my God. Please.
I'm going to play it here on air.
I'm very excited.
Okay. I will probably have to back it up because here we go. All right.
Okay, Britt. Holy shit. Elise was just talking about Jada. Can I tell her about it? And, she said, I miss Jada. I haven't seen her in a while. Or not, something like that. But then, I'm doing a video for Britt. But then, what did you just say? What happened to Jada's car? Okay, she doesn't want to tell you. She's a little embarrassed. But she said that Jada was missing the whole top of her car when it was Christmas time at her house. And her mom said, oh no, right? Is that right? You're a little embarrassed? Uh-huh. And then I showed her the picture, right? I looked up that obituary again, and I showed her the picture, and who did you say that was? I said, I'm going to show you this picture, and who's this?
It was Jada.
It was Jada. And so if you ever need any more proof, what did you say about her car?
Her car just broke. She fell down in the car, and she broke a hole.
She broke a hole? And when did that happen?
I don't know.
Do you remember when? When you said it was?
When's that Christmas time at her house?
Yeah. And so I looked it up, and it was January 3rd.
Oh my God. I have like
accident happened
goosebumps.
on January 3rd.
January 3rd, Christmas time, and she died in a car accident.
Yeah, she
What
did.
the fuck? I have like goosebumps coursing through my body. Or I might just have to poop. I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure it's just, I don't know, like disbelief and like.
So much evidence.
Dude.
Insane.
I love how mind blown Julie is too. She's like, Britt.
She is. Because I was the one that told her about the car accident, because you found that research and I told her, I updated her on how it happened. I forgot completely what time of year it even happened.
I had no idea.
No idea. So she went back and looked and it was,
Holy
January
shit.
3rd.
So she said that and then looked it up and then it was right around Christmas.
At Christmas time.
What the fuck, dude? Like that is like serious. I mean, that's that I'm like, I have too many facial expressions going for the podcast. My mouth is agape. My eyes are wide. I'm just stunned. I'm so stunned.
I'm stunned too. So a little recap for people if this is your first episode listening.
Yes.
My friend Julie came to me with a fun tale that her daughter has an imaginary friend. But what was different about this friend is that she had named her Jada. Julie, being my friend, of course, went and searched, Jada's in the area obituary and came up with an obituary for a little 12-year-old girl named Jada. And while she's researching, her little 3-year-old Elise peeks over her shoulder and goes, "Oh, Jada!" Recognizes the photo. And from then, you will have to listen in episodes past. We keep updating and getting confirmations from Elise that
I mean, this is the
Jada's
most
here, man.
mind-blowing to me for her just to be like, to just throw that out there
Yes.
without any prompting. I mean, like, that is
Yes.
getting, so there was definitely a little girl who died within, 10 miles or so, 15 miles?
Less, yes.
Less, okay, of their house.
Yes.
She died in a car accident. She died in a car accident right around Christmas. And Elise has seen a picture and been like, "Oh, hey, why are you looking at Jada?" Like,
Yeah, that's Jada.
she should be on that show, the Life After Death show. I mean, I feel bad because Elise shouldn't be a little test monkey or anything, but I am like, can we get her on the podcast?
That would be highly entertaining. She did draw a picture of Jada that I will try to get a photo of, so maybe we could post that for everybody. Just keep in mind, it's a 3-year-old drawing the picture.
So my thought goes to Jada does have surviving relatives. Like, I mean, has Julie thought of? I mean, that would be weird, right?
I know.
Julie thought about reaching out to them.
And so Elise always refers to Jada's mom as Jada's mom. And Julie's even asked, well, what's Jada's mom's name? And she's, I don't know, Jada's mom. Which, of course, every 12-year-old doesn't call their mom Sally or whatever.
I'm still Odin's mom to most people. Like, and Milo's mom,
But she knows Jada's dog's name. But she is a 3-year-old, so I have no idea what she's saying.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll post that audio up where it's like, what is Jada's dog's name?
Does Jada have any brothers or sisters? That'd be an interesting one because
I think that
was something that was available. I'm convinced. I mean, that's pretty freaking crazy. The whole thing has been crazy. I do like how more is forthcoming as time goes on, and probably like Jada or Elise knows how to speak better. But
I just hope that Jada sticks around to for entertainment purposes.
Don't you have a medium? Yeah, for our entertainment. Let's get Jada on the podcast. You have a medium in your neighborhood, right? Didn't you say that, or a psychic? I wonder if she could I don't know. Facilitate.
Do
something.
I?
I mean, I think about Jada's family, and if I knew there was a little girl who is talking to my deceased loved one, I would love to be able to communicate.
I know, that's true. It's true. If my kid died and I found out that they were haunting some other house and hanging out with kids, of course I would want to be there.
And there's a podcast talking all about it.
I know. They don't even know.
No. I know. Crazy. Well, geez. Yeah. Elise, thanks again for updating us. That was mind-blowing. That gave me goosebumps. I'm sure it's going to give listeners out there goosebumps too. And I don't know. Write in. Let us know. What should we do? We don't I don't know. It's just like, I guess.
I think, Julie's open to it all too. So I think if we even did wrangle up a medium who was like, I want to reach out, she would totally be down for that.
OMG. What about Maverick? Our friend Maverick's friend. She would be perfect. She is a medium.
I'm doing Ghost Tour next weekend. I'll just say, Mav.
Yes.
Set
it up. We have the connections in place. The wheels are in motion.
Okay. All right. I'll ask him.
Yeah, because I think that would be good. That would be an interesting
little twist.
And then can we bring the medium on and have her tell us what the deal is?
Sure. I'm going to try to get some stuff set up.
Oh my God. Can we make this into a Netflix special? Oh my God. No. I'm kidding. I get very excited and then I'm like, I'm tired. Shit. I don't even want it.
Okay, Alissa, tell us a story.
Okay, I am going to tell you about my good old hometown of Issaquah, Washington. So Issaquah was founded in the late 1900s. It was an old coal town. There's a lot of mining and lumbering of timbering of trees. Actually, there's 3 mountains that surround Issaquah. They call them the Issaquah Alps. There is Cougar Mountain, Squawk Mountain, and Tiger Mountain. Hey, Britt, why do they call Squawk Mountain Squawk Mountain?
Why?
Because if you were stuck between a cougar and a tiger, you'd be squawking too. I forget where I heard it. It's a cute old person joke. Anyway, I had trouble even choosing stories because there's just so much craziness. I think that the Pacific Northwest is a little infamous possibly for the like the people who occupy it. I can't remember if I've told you this or not. Like I did not know this when I moved here. Right after we moved here, maybe the first or second like Thanksgiving, we went for a hike on Taylor Mountain, which is like 5 minutes from where I live. And it was a weird hike. I didn't like it. I got like weird vibes. The highway was kind of close, but it just was not like, I love nature. Like that's why I live where I do. Like it is like, I don't like a fresh swim for me. I just love being out in nature. It was just a weird hike. I didn't like it. Even when we got back to the car, I was like, Mitch, I don't ever want to come back here again. Like I did not enjoy this. Even though it's so close to our house, I was like, no.
Yeah.
So fast forward a couple months and I'm listening to a podcast. I think it was My Favorite Murder, which I don't usually listen to their full episodes of like their whole murders, but it was something on Ted Bundy. Yeah. And I was like, I don't even know. I popped it on and was listening, and they go on about how Ted Bundy, lived in the Seattle area. Didn't know that. And that he had picked up a couple of his victims at Lake Sammamish Park, which is just down. I mean, it is Issaquah. That is where that is, the park. He'd like lured some women to help him go get a boat back at his house. He's like, hey, can you give me a hand? My boat's back at my house. Lure them into their car, murdered them, drove on up to Taylor Mountain, right around this.
Where you were.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
Issaquah Hobart Road is a road that is a major road, and he used to just like drive up and down it for leisure, apparently, all in these parts. It drove up to Taylor Mountain, ditched this poor girl's body up there, went back to Lake Sammamish Park in the same day, killed another woman and brought her back.
Shit.
But apparently it was like the dumping grounds for his murder victims. They found several bodies on this hike right around the corner from my house, like literally right around the corner, to the point when I heard this, I got very freaked out because I have long dark hair that I part in the middle often. And I was like, what if there's like a Ted Bundy, like copycat murder? Like, I mean, it really freaked me out that it had happened right here, and I had no idea. And then there's a famous kidnapping that happened. The warehouser, the timber baron who cut down all the trees around us here, his son was kidnapped right around the time of the Linden baby kidnapping.
Really?
Yeah, and he decided not to take the chauffeur home from school, and somebody else picked him up, like saw the opportunity, took him to like some house in Eastern Washington, stashed him there for a few days, took decent care of him. They fed him. They were like kind to him. They weren't, brutal or anything. Warehouser paid the ransom. They brought him back, and right again on this Issaquah Hobart Road that goes right through our town, they dropped him off in like a little shack right down the road from where I lived. And it was national news. It was a huge deal.
Never heard of. Well, I mean, it was probably ages ago.
Yeah, it was like in the 1930s or something. But then, so the dude who kidnapped the kid ended up getting arrested and put into jail. And when he got released, apparently Warehouser gave him a job. He employed the fella.
What? Get out.
I know.
Why? But why?
I don't know. I just think that's stand up because the dude was strapped for cash. I don't know.
Now he's clearly riffraff.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe his son.
I mean, I guess he didn't kill his kid. So.
And
there's that.
I don't know. I just thought that was a twist of a happy ending. Anyway, those aren't my stories. Those are just a couple of the fucked up things that happened around the corner.
Shit happens up there.
Shit happens up here. And I'm sure there's a gajillion other things I'm not quite aware of, like Green River murder. I mean, there's like famous serial killers roam these parts, apparently. But that's not what I'm talking about today. So my first story is one that I harvested from my my next door. My next door.
Yeah, all about the next door.
I have a fun little group. I mean, I guess I'm an admin. I am not as active. Like I asked an innocent question, and all of a sudden there's like 200 comments, and people are like, "Start a group, start a group." And I was like, "Okay." So this is where this comes from. So my first story is from Mary. I do believe she has a husband, and his name might come up. I'm really hoping it's Jamesel, but I'm not positive. We'll see.
I mean, it's so common of a name.
Jamesels, they're everywhere. I'm excited to share this situation, still ongoing. The old Freed house in Sammamish is haunted. The spirit is friendly, but still there. Our group saved the old house from demolition in 2009. We have since moved the house to Big Rock Park in Sammamish and had it landmarked. Its new name is the Reard house, after the original family that built the house. We have worked on the house for years and are now in the final stages of the renovation. My husband has been completing most of the work, usually working by himself. One day, I went up to the house to bring him lunch. As we sat outside, he asked me how long the little girl had been inside. I said, "What little girl?" He casually started describing her, crouched under a main table in the parlor with a long, sprawled out dress, looking directly at him, smiling.
Under the table.
Yeah. Look, she says, "I get goosebumps just writing this." Is it because of the eye contact, Mary? Because I think that's what would do it for me.
Yes. He sprawled out dress, eye contact under a table.
Staring
oh my God.
directly at him.
Alyssa just gave me the big eyes.
He then mentioned the shadow that he has seen several times. It stands behind him, moves past him in 2D form. He feels it as it passes, and then turns and disappears into the wall.
What do you mean 2D form? Like a piece of paper?
I guess so. It's a shadow of a man, slightly taller, no face, just a shape. I almost feel like that's if you've listened to last week's episode, Maverick, or 2 weeks ago, Maverick, he talked about the one that kind of shimmied down the wall too.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, like a shadow passing through, but there's no person
and you can
casting
feel
the
it.
shadow.
Yes.
Well, I called a medium and she came up with her team from Portland to investigate. Love it. I love it when they call in the mediums. Just the best.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
The little girl, a 3-year-old named Anna or Annie or Anne, was in the attic, which explains a photo I took in the attic that showed a strange light fly past my lens. I do have a picture of this attic. I did not notice the lens flare. We'll leave it at this.
You do have that eye. Okay.
The medium said she was stuck, but her parents were waiting for her, so the medium sent her back. The man, we assume, is Oscar Freed, who died in the house. He wants to stay and help my husband finish the restoration, which my husband agrees to. He actually plays games with this spirit, kind of like peekaboo. Like I said, he's friendly and has the right to be there.
Aw, Oscar.
That's kind of cute.
Love that. Somebody repairing the home, they're like, nail, nail, nail. And then Oscar's like, hey, peekaboo. Like that. It seems innocent. Maybe make me like pee my pants.
Yeah.
The ghost is playing peekaboo with me.
I like the idea of Jamesel scaring Oscar, sneaking up on Oscar, the spirit.
He like sees him going along the wall and he's like, I'm gonna humpy boo.
Yeah, turn the tables. I like this reverse haunting. Maybe in another dimension, Oscar is being haunted by Jamesel. The medium also mentioned the number of Native American spirits on the site. One woman in particular that had a bun in her hair looking out over Pine Lake. It never occurred to me that the land would have spirits as well, all protecting the area, which is cool.
Yeah.
That is nice. You know what? That was very, what is it called? white of me to only mention, it was established in the late 1800s. Nothing existed here before that. No, there were the Salish Indian tribes were here for a long, obviously, ages beforehand. It was this is like an ideal place. I've thought this thoroughly. Like, if I were a Native American, there's no place I would rather live than where we live. We got fucking...
You don't even have to, if you just throw a handful of seeds just like anywhere, even on some asphalt, plants will grow. And everything grows there. Dude, and then if it's green, lush.
The salmon come running through the freaking creek, through Issaquah Creek every year.
Hold up a net. The fish will just jump into your net.
Wild turkeys, wild berries. Like, it is the Garden of Eden up here. Like, absolutely, this is where you would live off the land. So
yes.
But I like that too, because I feel like oftentimes, Native American spirits, you don't hear much about them, but they probably are the more
they're still protecting,
prolific
still
around the
protecting
area.
the land.
So the house will be done in a year and open to the public, ghost and all. As we continue to work on the house, I will keep everyone updated on any news. Happy hauntings. So I asked if her husband, if James knew that the little girl was a ghost, or did he think it was a real person in there, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Good question.
And he said he saw the little girl 3 times that same day. She was about 3 years old. Just briefly, a split second. She scared him because her gaze was directed at him and she was smiling. Yes, Jamesel, you're a sane person.
No, that's so freaky. That's so freaky. Any living or dead, if you're looking at somebody and smiling for no reason.
And direct eye contact. Not welcome. No, stop it. You just did it to me. I love you, but I hated every second of that.
You don't
deep
do
stare.
it.
Oh my God. Ugh. Okay. The other spirit would pass by him or stand behind him, but he never made out a face. Sometimes it was just a dark shadow or a large ball of light, size of a volleyball. So we got some orbs bouncing around here
That's
too.
a big orb.
That's a big, like, volleyball. That's decent size.
Yeah.
That would fly across the room. I never ever saw anything, which is good because I'm a chicken. Hell yeah, Mary. Team chicken over here. Team chicken. Once my husband is back up there working on the house, I'll be curious to see if Oscar will be there to help. Read up on the history of the Reard-Freed house online. Lots of fun facts. So, Mary, I did just that.
Oh,
okay.
Research. Love it.
So, I'll try to keep it pretty brief. The Reard-Freed Farmhouse in Sammamish. So Sammamish used to be Issaquah, or Issaquah used to be Sammamish, or they're both the same thing. The same school district, very sort of interchangeable. The Sammamish is referred to as the plateau. So when I say Sammamish, they're not the same, but they're almost the same. They're adjacent. So the Reard-Freed Farmhouse in Sammamish, King County, was built in 1895 and has a long, rich local history. The original farmstead on which the house was built has the distinction of being the only location in Sammamish that appears in the National Register of Historic Places. So it was built by Jacob Dominic Reard, who was born in Germany on March 4th, 1866. And he apparently either brought money here or made money, but he built the house in 1890. At the time, Issaquah was called Gilman.
I like Issaquah better.
Issaquah. Well, yeah, and I believe it is a Native American name.
Do you have a photo of the house?
I do have photos of the house.
Did she send that too?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I've got several photos of the house. It's very cool. So, good old boy Jacob Reard, who was born in Germany, he married Emma Grote. So when I read Emma, I think I got confused. I thought Emma, Anna. I thought that the names were fairly similar.
May have been the little girl. Oh.
Although this was his wife.
Did they have a little girl?
They did have a little girl. They had a John, a Herbert, a Marguerite, and an Alice. But Alice lived until 1989. But,
yeah.
Time, space, maybe.
I mean, there's got to be somebody. The house is old as hell. There's got to be somebody.
Yeah. So they lived there until like the 1910s or so. That's not accurate, but let's pretend it is. And then they moved away. And he was a very successful farmer, this Jacob Reard. And he was severely injured when he cut his leg on a baler in 1917. And he was taken by train to Spokane for medical treatment, but died on February 21st, 1917. Nothing to do with the house. I just thought death seemed up our alley. And a tragic accident seemed like something I wanted to share on this podcast.
You're just working and you slice yourself on a hay baler.
Oh, I know.
And then you're dead.
Dead.
Because no antibiotics.
No. I had a relative back on the old homestead in Buffalo, New York, who apparently died from animal poison. I don't even know what that is. Butchering a beef cow.
No, Mike's, I think it was a great-great-grandpa, who Liam is actually partially named after, William, fell off a horse, broke his leg, couldn't fix it, because it's, 1910?
And died?
No, I think they cut his leg off, but they're
yeah.
well, you're useless now, and so his wife remarried his friend. It was a whole story.
My great-grandpappy on my mom's side, grandma's father was missing a leg. Raymond, I believe. No leg. Don't know how he lost it. You know what? I'll get back to us on that. I've always wondered why he had no leg. Don't know. We'll find out. Okay? We'll get back to that.
Next episode.
So then a whole bunch of different families. It did change hands a lot over the following years. After the Reards moved out, the Freeds, Oscar Freed, moved in 1928, and him and his wife Dorothy owned the property. I want to say they had an egg farm.
Oh, that's Oscar.
Yeah.
That's the ghost.
So yeah, in 1928.
Oh, the egg farmer Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar the egg farmer.
Oscar's there.
And his wife
All right.
Dorothy. And he rented out the property until 1934. And at least one renter found a creative use for the property and built a still on it. Prohibition was in effect at the time, but illegal stills were commonplace, and many did not view them with any real stigma. All right, I'm with you. Oscar Freed's son was interviewed in 2005, and he'd say, we'd go out there and it'd be all quiet. There'd be a few cattle but that's all. The bootleggers had a still in the barn that was sunk down so you couldn't see it. They put hay over the top of it. Finally, the Federals came down and knocked the still over. It stunk of whiskey out there for a good 3 weeks. Could smell worse.
Oh, Oscar said that. I love it.
Yeah, his son said
He's
that.
a good friend.
It's better
Oh,
than
he
cow
said.
poop, which is what I expect a farm to smell like. They had 3,500 chickens laying up to 1,500 eggs a day. This is not interesting for a paranormal podcast. Are they haunted eggs? Rotten eggs? No. Then
From a chicken standpoint, that's phenomenal. But what do you do with so many eggs?
Oh, you sell them to Seattle. You put them on a train to Seattle.
Oh, true.
Okay.
Yes, that's your business.
Fun fact about my area of town is that there are train museums and trains in every fucking little town outside of Seattle. Issaquah's got a train museum. Snoqualmie has this train museum. North Bend has a train museum. They all have fucking little train depots, train museums. There is no actual train that is running that you can go into the city of Seattle from where I live. They are building a light rail, but it is kind of a ridiculous thing. Like,
that's a bummer.
you can take the train of lame from Snoqualmie to Snoqualmie Falls, but it's not really, it's lame, as the title would imply. You don't even get a view of the fall.
That's the official term for it.
That's
lame train.
Maybe it's a marketing issue. So once Oscar couldn't work anymore, he started a water district. Their well ran dry, and I was like, "Oh, this is when they're going to move the house." No, he just started a water company and made water come to his house, and it was run out of the house, this Freed Reard house, until his death in 1979. Oscar died on his birthday, and so
Whoa.
Then, not long after his passing, the farmhouse gained national attention for, it was a TV movie called The Act of Love. And it starred Ron Howard and Mickey Rourke. And it was a drama about a mercy killing by Howard of a family member, Rourke, paralyzed from a motorcycle accident. So there's some really cool pictures of this house. And it was a really beautiful, like, yellow color. It's a very nice, like, rich yellow, like a vintagey sort of yellow.
Okay.
But for the movie, they painted it red. And so from then on, it stayed red and it fell into disrepair. So that is the story.
Good.
That's the story of the Reard house in Sammamish, Washington. And the little girl, I want to know. So, yeah, I want to know who that little girl is. It sounds like it could have been any number of people.
Any.
And
yeah.
their child.
I mean, Oscar lived there for a long time.
Yeah.
But you never know. Okay, my story, I'm not going to give you any, I'm just going to jump in.
Please do.
Going to jump in. My story takes place August 2009. My wife and I just returned from a trip out of Seattle via Amtrak. We took the Empire Builder, that's the name of the train, out of Chicago all the way to Seattle. On the morning of Tuesday, August 4th, around 8 a.m., I was sitting in our sleeper compartment on the port side of the train as it exited the long Cascade Tunnel. I was just relaxing with my head back against the seat, looking out the window, letting the scenery pass by. The train was moving about 40 miles per hour, and the landscape rose sharply up the mountain. I was facing towards the rear of the train. About a mile west of the tunnel exit, I suddenly glimpsed a huge figure standing in the trees, up the grade about 50 to 75 feet from the train. The woods were quite dense, and I only saw the figure for a brief moment, but it was unmistakably a Bigfoot.
Oh, I love it. Of course. Classic PNW. Okay, I also, does this fellow have a name? Woman, fellow?
Well, it's anonymous,
Okay.
but I will give credit to where I found it. He was standing, or it was standing on the sharp incline, looking down at the train with his right hand on an aspen tree. Because of the speed of the train, I only glimpsed it, but I'm positive of what I saw.
I'm sorry. I thought you were done with the story before. I didn't realize you had more. I was asking who wrote this because I feel like he's calling me a liar because I just said that there is no train from my towns into Seattle.
I did get a chuckle when you said that.
Okay. No, I'm going to let you know.
But this was 2009.
No, it doesn't matter. He is going from Seattle. The train leaves from Seattle Amtrak and it goes north up through Shoreline and out and around. It does not go down the 90 where I live. It does not go east through my towns. There is no Amtrak. So to clarify.
This is going basically around you.
Yeah. So for all you folk out there saying Alyssa's so full of shit, just making
Britt's
shit
first
up.
story is about a train.
Yeah. It does not go through my town. I've taken that train, so I know. Okay. Carry on.
The area seemed to be very remote, desolate, and wild. A minute or two later, the landscape dropped off into a steep canyon where I could view the Skokomish River. Did I say it right? How was I supposed to say it? Skokomish?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Mish.
Okay.
Skokomish, maybe.
Skokomish
You did
River
a
below.
great job.
It looked to be full of large boulders, and the flow was quite rapid and steep. The Empire Builder, that's the train, passes this same spot daily. It occurs to me that this animal might have developed some curiosity with the train and may visit the spot quite often. It was quite a shock to glimpse him. Quite a thrill as well. Of course, I exclaimed to my wife immediately. There was no chance she could see it because of her position and the speed of the train. I've reluctantly told my family and a few close friends of the sighting. They are understandably skeptical. So, I have stories about Bigfoot tonight.
All of them, Bigfoot.
Da, 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 da. You know, I think we were going to do a skipsies, but I think I should just talk about my Bigfoots. Is that okay?
Do it. I want to hear all the Bigfoots.
Okay.
So Jamesel, train Jamesel, this is going to be confusing. We need to come up with different...
We will call that guy Bob. He seems very much like a man who wears loafers.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, he seems very well, like
very
formal.
detail oriented.
Bobsel.
Knows the port of trains.
I like how the Empire steamer was.
I knew the name of the fucking
through
train.
the Cascadian mountainside. The Skokomish River was to the port side of the vessel.
Will say I got all of my information from a delightful website called bfro.net.
BFRO.
Called, which stands for Bigfoot Field Researchers Observer.
Big Fro.
Big Fro.
Big Fro. I want Bigfoot to have an afro. I really want him to be like really curly.
You
curly
know
hair.
there's a photo out there somewhere. This website is the bomb. So not only does it like track all of first person encounters of Bigfoot categorized, but they have them by state and then by county.
Ooh.
So I'm like, oh, what county is Issaquah in? King County. So
baby.
all my stories come from King County.
All right. That is
Um
a big county. No,
yeah.
that's great. That is my home. That's my home county.
So they've got all the stats on the site. Your neighboring state of Oregon has 250 reported accounts of Bigfoot. Do you want to guess how many Washington has?
763.
Close.
Oh.
698.
Oh, okay.
But like Washington has a shit like so many more encounters than I think the next one after that is like 150.
Again.
Washington filled with Bigfoots.
We just
Can I
discussed
just say?
Why people would like. I would live here if I were an 8-foot tall animal living off the land. Salmon,
greens,
berries,
salmons,
greens,
yes.
asphalt gardens.
Ooh, actually, your talk of salmon is a perfect segue into this next story. Me and my friend were going back on a service road at Mud Mountain Dam in Washington State near Enumclaw?
Enumclaw. There's a lot of fun named towns around here. It is.
Here we go.
Yeah.
On Mud Mountain Road. We walk down the road and it slopes down to the right. On the right is a hillside that goes straight up, and to the left was a hillside that goes down, and at the bottom is a circular area that is dry and wetlands. I looked to my left as I neared the curve in the road, and what I believed to be a Bigfoot was crouched down getting water from the swampy area. It snapped its head over really quick at us and then stood up. It had to have been 8 feet tall. It was a brown-red color, darker than a mountain lion. I ran as fast as I could back to my car. I looked back and my friend had seen it and was right behind me. I've been back many times and have never seen anything again, but I will never forget what I saw. I'm reporting this so many years later because my friend recently saw something a few miles up near Scatter Creek, and I know there is something in the area.
Ooh, I like that there's a verification another person saw it. So this reminded me of two different things. One, there is in my neighborhood, the local folklore right in my little neighborhood is of a black cougar. And every couple years there will be a
Wouldn't they call that a panther?
Well, yes, it would be a panther. But we call it a cougar, a black cougar, which doesn't exist. Like cougars are not capable of the melanin. Again,
there's no albino cougars out there.
Oh, there might be albino, but there's like the melanin will never like make the variation of a black
darker
cougar,
one.
right?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
people will swear up and down every so often on Nextdoor. I just saw a black cougar. There is like, and there's been several
It's out
sightings
there.
of this cougar. It is like my favorite thing.
It's a panther.
Oh my God, I love it.
You got a loose panther.
No, well, that is one of the theories. So we've got a few theories here. My theories, because
Okay.
like
Oh
it
my
is
gosh.
so fascinating. It's hilarious because every time someone's like, "I just saw a black," you didn't see a black panther. They're like, it was a black big cat with like a long tail. It wasn't a bobcat. Like people have lived here like 23 years. They're like, I swear, I know that it doesn't exist, but I saw what I saw and I can't explain it.
It like accidentally got under somebody who was painting, and it like got black paint spilled all over his back.
Oh my God. So the theories are one that someone had like there's a freaking Joe Exotic around here, wannabe.
For sure.
Who was like, I'm gonna get me a panther. I'm gonna keep this panther in my yard. And it escaped or it became too much and they dumped it up in the mountains because I live in a very rural area actually.
Oh, they're probably like lush land. It can survive
Roam.
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
My other theory is that it could be same premise, but a savannah cat, one of those big ass cats that's like a serval mixed with a house cat.
Oh,
That some like Seattle hipster got in his studio and was like, "This is gonna be awesome," and then the freaking thing just trashed his like studio apartment, trying
He's
to jump.
like, be free,
Yeah,
wild
and
one.
he's like, "I'm gonna be free," and they drove him out and released him and. I love it. I love it. Every few years, the black cougar that roams our neighborhood. I will give updates if that happens again because it's just so funny.
Also, where are these photos to prove it? That's what I want to see.
Okay, photographic evidence.
I mean, people, that's how people are with the Bigfoots too. I have one more.
Yeah, I wanna
one
hear it.
more, and then I'll go into a little tidbit about our man, the foot of big. All right. In the summer of 2000, I took a friend up to Rattlesnake Lake in North Bend, Washington.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Is that
yeah,
near
we
you?
go there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a very cool lake.
It was a clear night, full moon, which makes for a breathtaking view of Rattlesnake Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where that
Yeah,
is?
it is a ridge above the lake, and actually the lake was formed because it was a town, and up on the ridge, I believe on the other side of the ridge, they tried to dig a lake, I want to say, or a reservoir on the other side. But however the rock was configured, they tried to fill the lake on the other side of the ridge, and all the water just soaked through and ended up flooding this town on the downhill side.
Oh no!
Yeah, and so like there's pictures. There's a little like nature center you can go to, and there's pictures of the town, like a house floating because I can't remember if it was a reservoir or a lake or however if it was filled by rainwater or whatever, but that is what happened, and it is gorgeous.
That feels very, oh brother, where art thou?
Yes,
Where
it is. It is very much.
a
That
cow
might
on
be
a
where
roof
they get
floating.
the freaking idea for that movie. But there's a very cool nature center that they have these drums set up, and then they've got water playing the drums in this little rain garden.
Nice.
It is really cool. The kids love going there, not in COVID times. So yes, it's beautiful.
Love it. This was before all the development was done. So we pulled his truck into a clearing. The friend pulled in the truck to the left of the main road as you come up on the lake. We parked and climbed in the bed of the truck. I would say 15 minutes later, we heard a rustle in the bushes. When we turned to look, there was a very large animal of some sort. It was taller than the average black bear and stood like a man. We literally sat there froze for a good 2 minutes. I would turn to the left and walk 3 to 4 large... Oh, it would turn to the left and walk 3 to 4 large steps, stop, and face our direction. A few seconds later, it would do the same to the right. I would say it was a good 40 yards from us and a good 15 yards from the tree line. It stood 7+ feet tall, long arms covered in what seemed to be dark hair, and walked like a human as it paced. It was dark and too far away to see its face. Finally, my friend slowly grabbed my arm and asked me, "What in the hell is that?" I replied that I had no idea, but it was freaking huge. We both jumped out of the bed of the truck, throwing his spare tire on top of our blankets, and made a mad dash for the cab. As he drove away, I watched out the back window, and it just stood there. To this day, I wish that he had turned a full circle and shined his lights on it so that we could have gotten a better look. I grew up in the Snoqualmie, North Bend area and spent many summer nights a day at the lake in the woods. My friend was a hunter and in the military. There was no way it was an animal from this area. I didn't tell anyone about this for years, and when I finally did, they all laughed at me like I was a nutcase. But I know what I saw, and I know the fear that I felt, that paralyzing fear and dread.
Ooh, I like that one. So he was on his back feet. I like it because it's such a specific area too, and I know exactly where that is.
Yeah, it's right up the road.
And like I've never seen a Bigfoot ever, but I've also definitely never seen a Bigfoot there. But I didn't. I mean, you could. That's right near where Mitch works. Dirtfish is right out in Snoqualmie. It's very close.
Right. Yeah,
to
it's
him.
real forested up there.
Cougars, like genuinely, not black panthers, not anything. Cougars don't stand on their back legs, but there's a dude who got eaten by a cougar up there a couple years ago. Yeah. Like
was that the guy that was on his bicycle?
Yes, you've heard about that.
Oh shit. That was national.
Yeah. And then there's bear. Like, I guess, I mean, we see bear around here. Like Milo and I have had a very close encounter with a bear, and they are big, but they could walk on their hind legs. I mean, if he's from the area, he's seen bear. You know what they look like. He's seen bear. Like, I see
that,
bear
and
regularly.
I think that's important that they noted that too. Like, I'm from the area, seen a bear. Person's a hunter, has seen a bear. Because a lot of people on these Bigfoot sites are like, or skeptics are always like, "Oh, it's a mangy bear. You guys are idiots." Yeah. I've got a question. Mm-hmm. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Do I believe in Bigfoot? I guess I don't think it's impossible. I don't know if I'm a full-fledged believer in Bigfoot. I feel like we're like someone I mean, I guess people I would say like, oh, we would know about them. We would know, there'd be more, there'd be skulls and skeletons and this and that. But a point I've heard people say is that how often do you walk in the woods and come across a bear skeleton or a bear skull? Never. Every so often I do get I find skulls. But like usually birds and like a deer and stuff. But it's very rare. But you would think eventually somebody would come across like a Bigfoot skull or something, unless they are, there's like monkeys somewhere in the Bronze Age. So they may be more advanced and maybe they bury their dead. Maybe they, we don't, if they do exist, they may be more sophisticated than just a monkey in the woods, like they may know and have knowledge and be like, I don't want anything to do with these humans. And we're going to have our own society somewhere.
I did. It's very interesting researching the Bigfoot because you have the one hand of people who are like, clearly he exists. And then there's the other people where it's like, oh, these people are, high. But so Bigfoot has been not necessarily termed Bigfoot, but, large hairy creature or whatever. Actually, Sasquatch was the original term, which was anglicized derivative of Sisquaq, which means wild man. So just like large wild man in the forest or whatever. But most sightings happen in North America, Canada, here, in the U.S., some in Mexico. There are a few in Asia, a few in Australia, but for the most part, they're all here. In the early 1800s, there was a British explorer named David Thompson, and he was credited for the first discovery of Sasquatch footprints in 1811. But I think that perhaps he was around, Sasquatch was around before then, but this is just the first, British Anglican explorer, exploring the land and discovering this.
That's very early. Earlier than I expect, but then my immediate brain goes to he saw a bear track. So,
well, they were actually clever enough to do the mold of these prints.
Cast.
So there's the cast of it. So though I don't know where those actually exist, but they're those have been documented as early as 1811. In 1840, there was a Protestant missionary who recorded stories of giants among the Indians living near Spokane, Washington. Although I call it Spokane. What you called it, you pronounced it something different.
Spokane, but trust me, everyone around here makes fun of how I pronounce everything.
Oh, it's a debate.
Oh,
so okay.
I'm not right. It might be Spokane.
What they discovered is that the Indians said that these giants lived on and around the peaks of nearby mountains and stole salmon from the fishermen's nets. And to them, it was kind of a common, just other wild creature out there. About 1/3 of all of the Bigfoot sightings happen in the Pacific Northwest, though.
See,
right
because it's where you want to live. I swear to God.
I know.
So, no, I mean, I believe in that. I believe that they may still exist for sure. I mean, we find new species all the time. Anyway, I mean, as far as we're losing them,
but it's bonkers. Like just today, I read, just researching. I've started following a Bigfoot group on Facebook just so I could get some stories.
I'm into it. The cryptids. We need to.
I'm into it too.
Sure.
I didn't think I would be, but they posted up today. A woman maybe it's Louisiana, claimed that she raised a baby Bigfoot from an infant.
That's adorable.
And they were like, "Do you have documentation?" She's like, "Oh yeah, it's back at home. I'll show you later." But
That's really
totally
funny.
told her
That's
whole
cute.
story. It's. But then there's all these dramatic stories of oh, the DNA's been tested and I'll prove it on this live television show. And then they get millions of followers and then it's we have no documentation. And so there's a lot of these people who are spoofs. Actually, I did write down one that I thought was pretty, because they were people trying to deceive others about Bigfoot. In 2012, a man in Montana was killed by a car while perpetrating a Bigfoot hoax in a ghillie suit. So he was trying to pretend to be Bigfoot, and someone hit him with their car.
Because they were scared. They're like, "Watch me, baby. I'm going to kill Bigfoot. Watch this."
They're like, "Fuck that Bigfoot."
Or maybe
I don't know
they
the
just
whole
thought
story
it was
on
a
that
dude
one.
in a ghillie suit, attacking them with a freaking I mean, Montana, don't fuck around.
Ghillie suits don't look.
But they're
they
a
are
combat.
Kind of mangy.
They're like I would expect a soldier to be in a ghillie suit, and if I saw someone in a fucking ghillie suit, I would assume they're going to attack me or they're sneaking up on me.
Maybe they were sneaking across the road to be like, "Hey, I'm going to get those people hiking," and then not realizing that the car. I actually
suit,
didn't.
and I don't even know why. Why do I know that? I know what you're talking about. It's one of those things where you almost look like the weeds in the bush, and it's it's like a combat-y camouflage. It has long stringy stuff kind of hanging off of it. For those of you who don't know what a ghillie suit is. Okay, so historically, throughout history, there has been documentation like you're talking about, the Native American people talking about a being that they lived amongst them, right? And everyone just thought it was nonsense, or modern myths like Bigfoot, unicorns, this and that later were actually proved. None of those ones that I named have been proved to exist.
Unicorns do exist, Alyssa.
I have one example, and I want to say it's in Spain or the Pyrenees or something. I think it's in the Pyrenees. There was these legends of a very small horse and paintings and drawings of this very small horse or something like that. And everyone just thought it was this myth, the myth of the horse, the myth. come to find out, there's this one valley in like the Pyrenees Mountains that someone stumbled upon. And what do you know? A whole bunch of tiny little horses in this and it wasn't a myth. And so that's what like some of these stories, like people just write,
they exist for a reason.
Yeah. Well, even this,
well, and what baffles me is how many thousands and thousands of stories, and not from like, oh, we were super high hanging out in the back of the truck. No, like from like lucid people having obviously very detailed enough to tell stories about which port side of the train they're on, of seeing a creature. I don't know. There's something. There's got to be something.
Well, what I was going to say was like, if they exist, then more people would see, or people would see them. But I'm like, I guess people are reporting that they're seeing them, but people are not believing the reports that they're seeing. Okay. Similar to UFOs. So you're now on the fucking Bigfoot train, but you're still like...
Oh, I'm not going to say that I'm on the Bigfoot train. But similar to sort of ghost sightings, though, where it's like, okay, here's this photo of this silhouette of this person, where it's like, yeah, that could be a ghost. And then someone throws you a photo, here's a silhouette of this hairy creature in the forest. Well, yeah, that could be a Bigfoot. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's true. And then, or is it a man
probable.
in a ghillie suit?
I'll
Is
say
it a
that it's
staged
probable.
something? You know, people like fucking with people and getting away with.
Oh, absolutely, people fuck with Bigfooters.
But
is that a word?
Similar to the little small. Oh shit! It's right there. The little small horses. Hold on.
Unicorns.
It's I know it is. Okay. So similarly, or there's like a discounting of Native American folklore, or like specifically in the Pacific Northwest, which is relevant to today's episode.
Yes.
When the white folk found Seattle and like started settling it, there was like some geologist who like deemed this region the most geologically sound area in the world. He was like, there's fucking salmon, there's berries, there's like no geological movement. It is like paradise.
Yeah.
No, in fact, there's a big fucking volcano, like I can see from my house. It's called Mount Rainier. It is actually like one of the like, it's in the Ring of Fire. It is not geologically stable at all. And in fact, once you move here, you will inevitably hear, and it's going to probably come up in the news again, just because there's that fear factor. The big one, the big earthquake, that there is going to be a cataclysmic earthquake. It happens every 500 years or so. That will devastate the area, absolutely devastate the area. And it's
from the volcano,
not from the volcano. It's the Cascadian fault. Basically, the plates, one will like drop below the other one very suddenly. And they've realized they're like, oh shit, everything west of I-5 will be wiped out.
Alyssa, I was all ready to move up there. I was like, I want to forage wild berries. Yeah. But now I'm going to fall into the ocean.
Yeah, well, they looked back through the, you got to just live with it. You fucking had to boil your water this week. I mean, you thought you were safe where you are.
That's true. Texas got cold.
You guys are
going to
run out of water and die of drought,
yes.
But when they look back through like Native American records, there's a whole story of like this tribe that lived by the ocean. And they got washed away into the waters, and they like one night, and then when the ground shook and everyone ran out into the forest, and then right around so there's a folklore, there's stories passed down through the Native Americans, and then the fossil record also that aligned with a major tsunami that occurred in Japan right around the same time. So they were able to put it together and be like, oh, there was a major earthquake. They say it was around 500 years ago. I can't remember. Any article you read makes it sound like tomorrow it will happen.
Yeah.
It will be happening tomorrow.
Well, 10 years ago when we visited Geyser. What's that place?
Geyser. Oh, a Yellowstone? Yeah, the super
Thank
volcano.
you. I was like, Northstone? No. When we visited Yellowstone, that's all volcanoes there. And that was the
Super
whole like
volcano.
shtick there too, where it's like, any second now, this volcano can erupt. And so, you're camping, you're like, maybe the volcano is going to erupt tonight. So I do kind of, I get that feeling where that fear, almost that fear mongering of like any second.
You
now.
nailed it. It is fear mongering. But I mean, it's not a lie. It could happen. I mean, and like that's the point, that the Native Americans were like, it happened. It happens. And everyone's like, well, no one told me this. So like, yeah, we literally like we've been talking about it for centuries.
Right there.
Yeah. No, it happens. So Bigfoot, sure. I can't disprove he exists. Yeah. I've never seen one. But if I saw one, I'd believe it. And I'd be like,
you would?
I mean, if I saw one, for sure, I'd believe it. I might try to rationalize it, but I'll be like, that was really fucking weird. I kind of don't want to see one.
Keep your eyes out. When we visited family in Portland, I told my 8-year-old, well, then 7-year-old, I was like, well, Bigfoot is in these parts. And we went hiking that day, and he's like, Mom, look at this footprint. I'm pretty sure this is Bigfoot. And it was a delight. The whole trip, he's like, what's that over there in the bushes? Is that hair? I think it's Bigfoot, Mom. I was like, maybe. I love it. I love it.
So cute. Odin kept talking about a bobcat that he would see while riding his bikes to his friend's house and pet. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, he's like, no, it was a bobcat, Mom. I have it's a bobcat. I'm like, okay.
Turns out, no, it is a black cougar.
Yeah.
No, just chasing him.
I think it was
Mom. And you're like, brush it off. It's fine.
A dog. I definitely remember being a child and being confused between dogs and cats and coyotes and lions and tiger. Like the difference between the two. Like, I don't know. It's an easy mistake to make. So this story is from Rob. And Rob says that pre-COVID, I used to lead Issaquah historic pub crawls. In 2008, the Washington State Ghost Society conducted an investigation at the Grand Central Hotel and the Rolling Log Tavern using electromagnetic field monitors, EMF.
Wait. EMF! I'm pretty sure I got all that wrong earlier.
Full spectrum video cameras, along with mediums to interact with spirits they might encounter. They published a report which had unexplained shadows, flickering lights, visualizations of ghosts, and one investigator felt someone touching his arm and then his neck. The investigators identified multiple spirits. Before I go on, the Rolling Log is it's a bar in downtown Issaquah.
Oh, okay.
They think it was founded around 1930 or so, and it was like the hangout for all the old the lumbermen, the timbermen, the loggers. What do you call that? A lumberjack.
So it's been around. Yeah, lumberjacks. Not lumbermen. Lumberjack sounds much cooler.
So the lumberjacks, you would hang out at the Rolling Log, and the miners would hang out at H&H, apparently the other like old timey bar in town.
Okay,
and the Rolling Log, to visualize, like it is like the outside looks like a log cabin. It's very strange because Issaquah downtown is older buildings and stuff, but there's this one building that's like all logs stacked on top of each other, and then it has a little almost bay window of logs on the second floor, and that is the Rolling Log. And I've been there for a drink or two, kind of again, but it's like it's not a place that you see, and I was like, I personally was like,
it's not like your daily. It is probably not your daily bar, though, huh? It's just
it's like late night. I don't know, but people always want to go to the Rolling Log, and I'm like, okay, I guess we'll go to the Rolling Log. And so it's kind of divey. I don't know if I don't want to offend anyone, but it's sort of a divey bar. But it's like one of the oldest bars in Issaquah, and it's adjacent to the Grand Central Hotel that was founded in like 1908.
It's got to be rich history there.
Adjacent to the train museum with the non-functioning trains, but many trains. So people would come out from Seattle, and then they'd stay at the hotel. And it's not a hotel anymore. It's a boarding house, but just to set the scene. So there's a hotel and then the rolling log, and they're adjacent to each other. And I think at one point they were attached, but there's definitely some sort, like the rolling log may have been the cafe for the hotel at one point.
Okay.
The rolling log was a speakeasy at one point as well.
Nice.
So it's got some history, but it's being told as though everyone would know what the rolling log is. So I wanted to fill y'all in, all you listeners.
I'm there.
Okay.
I feel it. It's like dark, a little sticky,
You nailed
but
it.
also
got it.
historical. Yes.
Perfect.
Got it. I'm
Set
there.
the stage. So the investigators identified multiple spirits. One spirit was a patron in the 1950s who continues to visit because the tavern has good energy and likes to sit and stare out the front window. Oh.
Aww.
The window gazer.
Creepy.
Ooh, I feel like we've got like a category of ghosts. The window gazer, like old Mr. Barker. Another spirit detected by multiple mediums was a male who stayed at the hotel shortly after it opened and went on to fly airplanes in World War I. Two spirits apparently like to play cards. One is a tall cowboy with black hair sporting a waxed mustache. The other is medium in height with blonde hair parted in the middle. Allegedly, they are not aware of the people around them present in our time.
Those are I've been calling memory ghosts, where they're not out to haunt you. They're just doing their normal routine.
Right. But I also never considered that there's ghosts that aren't aware of other ghosts in their same haunting grounds, because they did not exist in the same time either.
Yeah. Yet we're experiencing them all in this time.
It's a paradox. It's a paradox. The whole podcast is just this. When I'm reading, I print just like 6 extra pages of nonsense words just to make it a little harder on myself.
You know, for the amount that you were reading and the amount of pages you were turning, it wasn't accurate.
No. I just try to make Britt think I researched a bunch by there's not real words on this. It's just gobbledygook.
It's just the alphabet repeated, copy paste.
Yeah, I just sat on the keyboard.
You do have a lovely sketch on the back of that one.
I do. Yeah, I get distracted. Oh yeah, I do have a little. It's a ghost face. I don't even remember drawing this. Is it Jada? It's Anne.
Maybe. Anne.
Okay. So, another spirit with a long beard and a Hawaiian shirt was allegedly stabbed to death in the 1970s. It is thought that he may have been the cook. Oh. The Rolling Rock totally looks, people get stabbed there. That's what it seems like. I mean, no, I don't know if people, I like that story.
You're offending so many people right now.
That story is believable to me. It feels like, sure, people.
That a man in a Hawaiian shirt and the rolling log for sure.
I mean, because Issaquah, it's kind of like, yeah, it's not a very rough and tumble town. If there were a bar in the town that someone's going to get stabbed, it's going to be the rolling log.
It's going to be there.
I'm sorry. In the basement of the Grand Hotel, a female spirit was encountered wearing 1900s clothing. She stood 5'6" tall and had blonde hair. When she saw the medium, she began to scream.
Whoa! I love that because she probably hadn't been sighted before.
No.
Ooh,
I love it, but I hate it. A ghost screaming at you. Like, that's a staring and, like, it's screaming. Oh, God, it just sounds so horrible. Like, That's what I fear if I see a ghost. That's why I'm scared of ghosts. A memory ghost, sure, welcome. I am scared of one that's going to look directly in my eyes and then scream some terrifying, high-pitched...
Stare at you, smile at you, and then begin screaming in your
from the
face.
corner of the room. Ooh.
You know they're in the corner.
And then they're going to sink into the floor and run at me.
Yes. Yes. And then grab your ankles.
I'll jump him. The medium asked her questions and was told her name was Penelope. Penelope described how 2 men had sexually abused her and then murdered her. She expressed that she couldn't understand how this could happen to her if there was a God. Apparently, other spirits have actively attempted to help her move on, but she does not trust them and remains distressed and confused in the basement. Ooh.
Oh, bless it,
Penelope.
Penelope.
Let's help her. Finally, a spirit who said her name was Anna spoke of a surrogate daughter who was murdered in the basement of the Grand Hotel. Is it Penelope? In historical records, the investigators found that Anna Croston was the wife of James Croston, who built the Grand Hotel in 1903. The H&H is allegedly haunted too, but that is a story for another day. So that's another old-timey bar.
Ooh, I love that one.
Yeah.
I love a good old-timey haunting.
I mean, if you come here, we can go check out the rolling log. Maybe we can ask them if we can go to the basement. I did find another little article when I was looking at that about the rolling log. Let me just consult my notes.
Like 25 pages of paper right there.
So I did a little bit more, digging just to see if there's anything else out there. And I did find from the Seattle Weekly by the Surly Gourmand, a little review he did of the rolling log a few years back.
Love that name.
And he says that the rolling log has a scary secret. It's haunted. A building this old with an illegal past, no doubt, has shitloads of ghosts. I think he's referring to the speakeasy. One employee was skeptical. I've been here 35 years and I've never seen the ghost. And waitress Julie, too, is a non-believer. I have not seen the ghost, she says, but a lot of people have. I know someone died in the bathroom, but that was 5 years ago. The ghosts were before him. There are 3 of them.
That's not that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
Who's dying in the bathroom?
No, because this was from 2011. So I don't.
Lady.
And actually, Julie, there are 4, is what the author says. I got in touch with former bartender Carlos Cejudo, who worked at the Rolling Log from 2006 to 2010. Carlos saw plenty of paranormal activity during his tenure. I've opened and closed that place way too many times. About 3:15 to 3:20 a.m.
That's our time.
Hour
Holy shit.
is when things start getting iffy. He said by iffy, Carlo means haunted like Michael Jackson's childhood.
Oh,
On
this
these
author is the greatest.
on these late nights, he's seen 4 different spirits. There's a cowboy near table number 2, the table on the right-hand side of the door, and an all-in black guy. And there's a little girl. She's all over the bar, a prankster. These 3 are harmless apparitions, but the 4th ghost is pure evil. Carlos didn't see this ghost, but felt its evil presence. He, the ghost, was like, I got this bad energy around 4 a.m., like, it's time to go. He messes with people, dropping boxes, making noises. I thought at first that it was the people that live upstairs, but the noise was coming from the bar. And that's the story of the rolling log.
So good. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go. I love a good dive bar.
And there's several other
oh,
good stories.
I miss going to bars. It's going to be so good.
Do I miss going to bars? Do I miss?
Well, you know what the rolling log is like, so maybe.
That's true. Or any bar in general. I don't know.
But great story. Amazing. Good research. So much research you had to do for those.
I didn't have to do any
brilliant.
research. I just made it look way harder than it needed to be. Really, I just printed, didn't staple, shuffled papers together. And
I did important things.
yeah, look at all the research I did. You can hear all the research I did. Your Bigfoot coming out of left field with a Bigfoot. I love it.
I wanted to do
love
that.
it, love it, love it. I'm so happy you
know-
did because we're famous. Like there's Bigfoot stickers all over cars around here and stuff. I mean, it is
Yes,
a thing.
almost 700. I mean, by now, since I've researched a few days ago, there has to be over 700 sightings now just in Washington.
I mean, there's a shit ton of wild here, and it is like some gnarly terrain.
Yes.
I mean, it's definitely very possible that there's creatures.
You live in a cool place, Alyssa. I'll just
thank
say
you.
it.
I made it myself. I appreciate. No, I didn't make it myself. I really do love it too. It's pretty. So, and you know what? Issaquah holds a lot more like cool little stories, and I will probably be sprinkling them in throughout the episodes too, because there's some
Please
good
do.
little nuggets. So I thank everyone who submitted today. That's great.
Speaking of stories,
Uh-huh.
if you want to send in your story,
You can email us
yes,
at skeletalespodcast@gmail.com. Or if you prefer to verbally dictate your story, Britt has the number.
Yes, we have a phone number, 302-689-DEAD. That's 302-689-3323. We are looking for 2 more stories on our voicemail
Yes,
there, our
spoken
Skeletals
word.
voicemail. So we're not going to answer the phone. Don't worry.
Nope.
You don't have to talk to an actual person and sweat.
Not a chance.
It'll be voicemail where you tell your story, but we are looking for 2 more. Come on, you know you have one.
You could also DM us on the medias. We've got an Instagram.
Oh, we're on the socials. Yes.
Skeletales Podcast on Instagram. We're Skeletales Pod at Twitter. Challenge us. How about that? Challenge us to some sort of
Ooh.
TikTok. Challenge us to a video. Something
Sure.
you want to see us do. We'll do it. I'll make a fool out of myself. I don't mind.
We do all the time.
Yep.
Welcome to Skeletals. We're also on Facebook, Skeletals Podcast, but the true gem on Facebook is over at Skeletals Community, where we all just shoot the shit and have fun and have good time.
Yeah,
So go over
Spooky
there.
stories, memes, all of it. Hey, Britt.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Huh.
I'll hunt you later.
Haunt y'all later.
Good night.
Good night.